stretch models are pretty familiar to all of us. Those are our three. I just want to talk a little bit about the consequences then, and I'll end with that. I see when I talk about, what happens in first year comp, doesn't stay in first year comp. Here's what I see as the consequences. First of all, other classes. What we do in first year comp has to have meaning for our students, and I think there are different consequences for different students. For some students, these will be the consequences they feel the most. They want what happens in this class to matter in their other classes, or it makes what happens in our first year writing program irrelevant to them. So there are a variety of ways that we do this. Not only do we have a WAC-WID program on our campus, which is one way of doing it, but at the first year, I can't get my students out. We bring the disciplines into the classroom. Bring stuff that they're writing about, stuff that they care about, stuff that they're reading in their other classes, and let's do this work. Let's do this rhetorical work. Let's do this annotation work. Let's turn those into inquiry projects in our class. Let's connect them. In book clubs, we'll have the business majors and the students who think that's what they want to do. They're looking at this from an economic perspective. The students over here are looking at it from a sociological or psychological perspective. Students over here are looking at it from a humanist perspective, and they'll choose text to read from those different perspectives, all informing a similar kind of issue. Through the difficulty and the self-reflection pieces, we want students to always do journals, any other kinds of things, blog postings. How does what I just read or did in this first year composition matter to me as a human being on this planet? And we interrogate those. You can't just blow smoke at us. How does it matter? How did it move you? How did it change you? That matters in a first year composition class to know how this altered you or changed you in some kind of way. Students start off doing this, not very, when Tom was talking about it, sort of some superficial kind of responses, but they deepen over the course. We get at some real stuff. Yeah, we've had lots of classes where many of us were crying because we were so moved by something, a project that a student presented to us. Then also, it's got to matter not just in their other classes and in their personal lives, but we want it to matter in their civic lives as well. If one of the definitions of literacy is not what did I read and what did I write, but what did I do with what I read and what did I do with what I wrote? What impact did it have? We want to turn those into real projects. So these take a variety of forms in our classes where we will define something. What can we do with this? Where can we take this? Anything from the San Francisco Chronicle gave us a full both pages, full spread to our students' work.
Wow.
About the budget crisis and the faculty furloughs and all of that. And so that's one way, that's one thing that we did with the students' work. But what are other kinds of ways that we can make this public, that we can turn this into activism, the work that the students are doing in the first year comp class? When we're getting at some of these consequences, when these are, to use a phrase that I just learned, when these are sort of hard-baked into the first year composition curriculum, these consequences and these expectations, then we think we're getting a little bit closer to what we believe is possible for these students, and for allowing them to hang out and see what they want to do with this in the rest of their lives.